I am very sad. This is the last time I get to look at your guys' work during class time. And I'm so thankful for all of the hard work, all of the effort, all of the experimentation, all of the support you're showing each other. But this is going to be fun to see, what your final projects are, what they've been, what you're working on. And so let's go ahead and quickly just jump over to our Padlet. Or do you guys already see our Padlet page?
Nope. No, we're still looking at your painting.
Okay, there.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. All right. So now am I controlling it from this screen? Okay. Very cool. Let me just move a couple things around on it popped up on a different screen here. All right, so we got our class videos. These will stay up here, you guys. I'm going to keep the Padlet live for as long as I can. If you get a chance and you have things that you've shared that aren't like important or whatever else, if you could delete those, that'll keep our Padlet space a little, keep it moving a little easier. All right, artist inspirations. I think we talked about that last week. No class handout this week. You may have noticed that. So I did the summary for last week. That's on there. No new questions. This is the medium that I am experimenting with. Don't rush out and buy this, please. This is the third time I've used it, so I'm still learning. But I thought you guys, somebody would ask if I didn't share it, so I put it on there. And looking through our reference photos, you guys have been very generous sharing. Don't know quite what we're looking at here, but just beautiful photos. Linda Camarada, you've added so many. Like I was scrolling through them earlier this morning. I'm like, oh, I would like to paint that. Oh, I'd like to paint that.
Please
Over and
do.
over and over.
We're not seeing it.
Thank you, Linda, for sharing so many of your mornings and evenings with us.
Your
And you
Padlet
guys,
page, your Padlet page is not moving on my screen.
Yeah, it's not
Mine
moving
either.
here either.
oh, okay. What about if I go to this screen?
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I apologize. So that I was wondering why it popped up over here. So now I have Padlet up on all my screens. All right, so here we are. Okay, looking at the reference photos.
Oh,
Do that.
Yeah, was that you, Nyla, that shared this one?
Yes, that was one of our storms last week.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Look at all of that red and purple
Wow.
in the sky.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be a good use of dioxazine purple.
there you go.
Yes.
Perfect. Doesn't even look real.
No, it really doesn't. It looks like a DeLorean should fly out of here and go
Yeah,
back to the
Yeah.
future.
that'd be a perfect setting for it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even know how I would paint that or what I'd probably change the setting of the parking lot, but beautiful, beautiful sky and just, yeah, interesting transitions and grays and,
Oh, that's gorgeous.
yeah. So anyways, here's what I was talking about. Linda shared a whole bunch of photos. I was just like, oh man, I want to paint that.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
And I want to paint that.
That's
That's pretty.
Look at that rain down here.
I should have painted that instead of what I did. I put, I think, the one I painted on there too. Yeah, further down. There. Oh, that is not easy, guys.
Does not look
No.
easy. Anyways, thank you guys. Continue to share. Even even if class is over, I think this is the one you painted, Linda.
Yeah, yeah.
Hard.
All right. No new paintings from artists we admire. No new color inspiration. Let's go ahead and let me pop this open so I can see you guys. And let's go ahead and focus on the two of you that need to leave sooner. So that was Rebecca and who else?
Bonnie. Bonnie.
Bonnie. Okay, we'll just start there with Bonnie since you're alphabetically. All right. And this is the one that you'd like to talk about, Bonnie?
Yes, and the reference photo is below it.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, good. This is a really nice photo. Lots of earthy, muted colors. So what drew you to this?
It was the clouds.
Okay.
Because I was looking for some clouds that didn't have a lot of red in it, because I'm really struggling with my red and orange and yellow clouds. So I thought, well, I'll try it where it's a little bit more muted or whatever. So
Yeah,
that's what
grayed
drew me
down, right?
yeah.
Okay,
So
so
the,
when you
so
looked
the
at,
color. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, so when you're looking at this, what were your favorite parts besides no red? And
Well,
what were your least favorite things?
so my favorite parts, I love the clouds, and I love the water that was just the subtle water. This is a wetland, so it's not really a river, it's wetland areas. My least favorite was I really didn't like the color. I really like bright colors, and so
Okay.
the color of the grasses were, to me, kind of dull. So when I did the painting, I made them a little more colorful. I really loved the tree that is there more in the foreground on the right, but I don't know how to paint that. And so I didn't do that exact tree, but I did a tree in my background. So,
Great. Yeah, the clouds are lovely. My hesitancy would have been that it's just horizontal, horizontal, horizontal,
right,
horizontal.
right.
This pattern.
I agree. I agree. I think the horizontal was, I agree there was too much horizontal, but I really wanted to paint the clouds. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just do it and um and just see where it goes. It was an exercise. So
Great. And I'm hearing a dinging. Is that from you, Bonnie?
it's my phone. Just
Okay, as long as it's you.
yeah, I'll just turn my phone off.
No, no, whatever. Yeah.
My kids.
So my fear kind of came into reality here, where it's just so many horizontals, like stripes.
Right, right.
So I would be curious, how you could affect this area a little bit, because it really feels so stripy, and then the stripes kind of continue.
Right. So the stripe that bothers me the most is the top stripe. Um that's
This
solid.
one with the tree line on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, you did create a hill here, for good or bad, whatever that
Yeah.
is. I think it's just in the repetition.
Right.
And if we measured from here to here, it's almost the same as from here to
Same. You're right. Yeah.
So I mean, I would have even possibly gotten rid of this
Uh-huh.
or blown it apart, or had it closer to the background. Because if we look at the reference photo, you actually have a big difference. This is
Right.
much bigger than this.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
that helps us to read space as going back. So
Right.
what happened, unfortunately, and I should say nice things before I start attacking you.
No, I agree. You're saying exactly the same things that have bugged me since I did it. So really what I should have done is just take out the top water and just had the bottom water. Would have been better.
Possibly. I mean, there's lots and lots of iterations you can do.
Yeah.
But I just wonder that, this busyness,
Yeah.
and the painting was meant to be about this,
Right. Right.
but it is definitely not about that.
Right.
So how do we, de-emphasize and then re-emphasize?
Right.
All right. So when we look at your reference, what makes this, because yes, we do see all this and there is that repetition, but what happens here is we've got a pretty good sized value contrast. We also, you know what I mean, between the darks and the lights.
Yeah.
Also, the tree that I know you're not really comfortable with is not on the tree line.
Oh, right.
Look
Yeah.
at the base. Look, we know how close a tree is by its base,
Right.
how close it comes to the viewer. We know this one, like if I put grass, took this grass and brought it on top over this, and all of a sudden it shared the base with this, it would just feel like a taller tree than these. But because the base of it comes down, we know that it's closer. Same with, we know this tree is closer than the tree line. So you unfortunately lost that and put them all on the same
On
plane.
the line, right.
So simply by taking a dark line and bringing it down brings it much closer.
And so I could add another tree too.
Totally. But because all of these are on the same line,
Right.
this tree is gigantic and these trees are small versus this tree is closer and these trees are far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you lost all of your contrast in your cloud, right? It just kind of subtly shifts. There's nothing that really pulls us here besides this kind of circular shape. So yeah, I don't know if you remember the kind of self-critique sheet that I sent.
Yes.
But one of the main things is like, what's the intention? What is the focus? What's the idea behind the painting?
Right.
So that's why I often will ask when, we look at a reference is, why? Why are you,
Right.
What out of all your 100 photos, even, 20 photos from this day out at the wetlands,
Right.
what made you excited about this? And it was this.
I should have, so I know the composition just isn't working. And so I should have just cut off the bottom part if I really wanted it to be about the sky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
edit it out or de-emphasize it, making
Yeah.
it less interesting, because all of your contrast, all of your strongest lights and darks are in this area.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely weighted. It takes my brain effort to get into this space.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, beautiful colors, beautiful grays, and even though it's desaturated, which I know you aren't as excited by, you did a really nice job. Like the color harmony is really quite nice. These earthy greens and yellow ochres and kind of burnt reds really play well with these grays and blues and everything else. Like there's a nice harmony to the piece overall. And this is not a bad painting. It's a painting you get to revisit and make a better painting.
Definitely. Definitely. Yep.
Very cool. Anybody else have any observations here?
I'll just say
I
one.
really-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I really love the color of that first little water bit. I think that you've gotten it really bright. It's almost like a mirror in some way. You can't quite tell what the color is. You can just tell that it's reflective, if that makes sense, which I feel like kind of makes it a little bit more realistic. And it's really crisp. And I like that layer. There's like a line of that really warm color of where like the earth would sort of begin, that little band, just that unevenness of that line, but it not being curved. I think people make the mistake often that, we see water and think that it's got this rounded top. But so anyway, I think that it looks really lovely, that front part.
Yeah, what I would say is you're 50% into this painting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll say the thing that I really enjoyed about the painting is it's oil, and oil is the thing I'm new to. And I really had fun I feel like I did a much better job with blending color with the sky in this painting than I have in my other skies. Just because with oil, it's easier to blend because you have more time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that is the gift of
So
oils.
part of it to me is just trying to continue to experiment with how to use oil, how to paint with oils. And so that was, I enjoyed that part of it.
100%. Yeah. And I mean, you have strong edges where you want them. And again, that sometimes is hard to retain in oil paints as everything gets kind of mushy and soft. And you did a great job. And that's one thing I also wanted to point out is, you know, in this foreground and then this first stripe is that you have so many interesting, beautiful textures. I was just noticing the delicacy of these grasses that you don't even see at first. And that's just beautiful. So you're doing so much good things. I would just urge you and everybody, and myself included, is to remind ourselves of, okay, why did I pick this? No, but totally. I mean, I do it all the time.
Oh,
This
yeah,
workshop that I took this weekend was
right.
kept losing the plot. Like I was just like, oh, now this part of the picture is so interesting. Oh, now this part.
Right.
And even the painting I was working on in the demo is just like, okay, what's the focus? It's that sunlight. It's how it's moving through. Don't forget that. Don't get so caught up in other elements. So, yeah. And anyways, fantastic. I love that you are challenging yourself. I see these nice sense of movement and things. And so, yeah, when I'm looking at work, because you know, I've already mentioned, I think even last week, I talked about the English gardener syndrome, right? Where I want to organize. If you look at a lot of my paintings, I'll just put tree, 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 and they're all perfectly balanced and all in a line. And it looks like somebody planted them and has been, you know, grooming them. And I just have this problem with organizing nature, you know. I just want to get in there and, you know, just clean it up a little bit. And I'm not saying you did that with your trees at all, but what you've done is with the balance of these three lines. And by leaning in towards the irregularity that makes nature nature, you know, makes it look natural. And sometimes we have to push that because sometimes nature over organizes itself, like in waterways or in rocks and different formations. Sometimes you have to make nature look a little more natural. So,
Yeah.
I really love the grasses up front, even on that first and second layer of the, you know, on either side of the water. Yeah, down in there and on the front of the top, the bottom of the painting. They're beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. Very beautiful.
And your colors are natural in the sky. You really chose a good palette.
for sure. And the negative shapes, like this is probably the best tree in the bunch, just because you have these lost and found edges. This one's working pretty well, but you know, it gets real hard at the edge. I would do what you've done here and just kind of drag very softly with a dry brush. You just dip it into this tree and lightly drag and pull up as you're pulling the paint, and you'll get these beautiful edges like you've done.
Pull it down just a little bit into the ground and pull it down into the grass out there.
Yeah, I'm going to keep working on this. I think all of your comments are really helpful. So I think I'm going to make some modifications so it's not so stripy.
Yeah, and this is a common issue with all of us. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and we're gonna jump forward to did we already lose?
She had to leave.
Oh no, we should have started there then. Dang. Okay, well, we'll just go through them then. All right, Brett, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Wow, this looks like a video game cover about being some kind of brave Norwegian explorer or something here. This looks extreme. What's going on here?
I was frustrated yesterday, so I just sat down and I had a picture of a cloud that I liked, but I didn't like the location. So I moved it a different direction. So also I was kind of I have lots of old paint, which I've been trying to use up. So I kind of got off on that one. And actually that before it glazed, it wasn't a bad color. It glazed up really red. But I'm just pulling it out of my brain. And
this is a made up scene?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I used the cloud, then I shifted around here we have all these low. You have the water, and you have all these low ridges, and so I put a low ridge in there. Then the sailboat. My granddaughters took a sail class a long time ago, so I have a picture of them. So I put the sailboat in there. It was just I was wanted to paint yesterday, and I said, well, want to do a big cloud. Well, that's how it came out.
No, yeah. Brett is inspiration to me in a number of ways, but Brett paints or draws, I think, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brett just retired, if I can say that, if it's okay,
Yeah,
share with people
that's
that
okay,
he
yeah.
just retired. And it's just so fun that you're, just kind of every day you do something, whether it's on your tablet or you're drawing or you're visiting, taking a class, doing the figure and everything else. And I think that's so fantastic. So when I look at this, if I were to turn this into a black and white,
Uh-huh.
it would disappear. Like there's not a lot of value contrast. Even
Right.
your warm colors are all very dark. So I would urge you to look at the image first as a value thing,
Okay.
even if it's out of your head. Just
Yeah.
thinking, where, like, part of me is like, I don't know if this is fire back here. Like this guy's going to go back to his home and find it being, raised by the enemies or what. But yeah, I think about Monet's work a lot. And Monet was not a value-based painter, right? He did not paint lights and darks. He was a colorist. And what's really interesting for me is to take some of my favorite Monet paintings and turn them into black and whites, and so many elements disappear, right? So color's doing the heavy lifting, where for me, values are doing the heavy lifting, the lights and the darks. And I feel like you're very reliant on color, and in this painting, temperature, to do the heavy lifting. But if I could be so bold as to suggest maybe you start thinking value, lights and darks first, and then thinking color, I would be very curious, because I noticed that in a number of your paintings that the saturation, this one has a little bit of a value shift, but I think it's going to open up a different world to you of when we look at the reference for the one we just looked at, that it's, squint your eyes and, much, much lighter, going steadily towards dark, and
Right.
colors be damned, the values still work.
Yep.
This would be a really good example where when we squint our eyes, it becomes all really quite dark. So I want you to think about that black and white 1 through 10 grayscale that photographers use and painters use, and I use in my classes, is that I want you to start introducing the idea of a full value scheme. All right, this is a much better example of what I'm talking about. This is vibrant, electric, and alive, right? You still have strong, saturated colors, but you have, it glows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you have color contrast, temperature contrast, and value contrast. This would read as a black and white. Whereas a lot of your other work, I think, would read less well as a black and white. This would read as a black and white, but you would still, like, this whole area, besides this little white, would really kind of get lost. So I know, especially when you're working on the Padlet and when you're photographing it, just quickly just desaturate it.
Okay.
And see how it's reading. I like to look at my work just like we did at the end of my demo, is I like to look at it under really low light. Before we redid our room next to our kitchen, there used to be this wall with a dimmer switch on the one light. And I could, while I was cooking dinner, I would put it on that wall and just mess with, like, what does it look like with almost no light? What does it look like under really low light? and what does it look like under strong light. And values are almost always the thing that are letting it read under low or dark light. Yeah, here's another example where you got a nice strong contrast. But imagine even if you lighted up, I don't know, made the yellows lighter. You could, this could even have more punch if that's what you wanted. So yeah, that would be my challenge to you, Brett, going forward, is to think values a little bit more like this. This is all chroma based. This is all color based. If we took this into black and white, or if you squint your eyes, these yellows actually get kind of dark. Am I making sense on that, you guys?
Yep.
Yes.
So
actually,
go ahead.
that's the realization I'm coming to, and I appreciate the comment, because I started to notice that when we started off, is I really need to expand my value range a little bit. So it's
Right.
and so
You paint in acrylic or oil?
acrylic.
Acrylic, so you could do the black and white.
Yeah, actually, I did a couple this term. I've never done a lot of underpainting with acrylic, but now I'm starting to do more thinking about it. So
I was just thinking of it as practice to get values in.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I would not do it as an underpainting for you, Brett.
No.
I would challenge you to do the painting twice.
Right.
Yeah, and again, that workshop I took this weekend, he had us doing everything 2 to 3 times. We would do a charcoal sketch, we would do a value study, and then we would do it in color. And it was so interesting just to see. And on the second and third visit, you've just digested so much of the information that all of a sudden it becomes so easy to do the second and third visit, fourth visit. Like this is all value, almost all value based with beautiful colors. So yeah, do you have a pen and paper?
Yeah.
Value first.
Okay.
And that's it. That's my advice. I love what you're doing. I love the richness of colors, but this is a great example. Like if I turn this into a black and white, these values are so similar. And it's so hard to see when it's in color that we see these, this red just feels brighter and lighter, but it's really not. It may even be darker here to here.
Yeah. And if you did it in black and white, it would force you to think values.
Yeah, I was just seeing if I could convert it. Let's just do it real quick if everybody's okay with that. Let me see, how do I copy it again? I go over here, download attachment, save as. I'm just going to put you on my desktop and name you Brett, just like your parents did.
2 T's.
Got it. And we're going to open it, and I'm just going to use the simple software that comes on here. And what I'm going to do is go to edit and adjustments. Okay, so here's my guess, is that these are going to blend together really quickly when I take my saturation and lower it.
Yep.
Right? But when we're thinking about it, like this is glowy, right? There's so much color here. So this is a really great tool. And what's so nice with our iPhones is we can literally just point it at it, change it to black and white setting, and we can see it through our phones. A lot of times when I'm outdoors plein air painting, I will literally take one black and white photo of the scene just so I can really see where are the strong contrasts. What is the, what's the big push and pull? But I imagine when you were thinking about this painting, Brett, you were not thinking that all the values were so close, right?
I was actually trying to do a transition there, and it failed.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. And acrylics are tough like that.
Yeah.
The other thing that you might want to think about, Brett, is where's your point of interest?
Uh-huh.
What's the most important thing? And that will pop because it'll have, in other words, the whitest white and the light and the darkest dark. That'll make that area pop. So when you do your black and whites, where's your point of interest? Where's your
Right.
focus?
Great point, because what happens is this becomes your focal point.
Mm-hmm. Because you've got the lightest light and the darkest dark. Whether that's where you wanted it or not, I don't know.
No, that's like I said, that painting I was frustrated with, and you're helping me understand my frustration a little bit. So
Yeah. I've been doing this for, 20 years, give or take every day. And you know what I mean? And so, yeah, we're seeing different iterations and it's really fun. And I love like your strength of color. I love your strength of brushwork. Like there's not much I want to change about your work, but I think that by including value structure would really help add a dynamicism. The other thing is, I do think you're painting out of the tube a little more. I would maybe experiment with mixing your colors on your palette. I know you paint on a plate, so that you have to squeeze them out and paint really quick before they dry. I'm going to urge you to go ahead and spend the $17 and get a Stay Wet palette.
I actually got one.
Okay. All right. So I've taken that excuse away. Because I think that pre-mixing a little bit on your palette helps me. So I do it all the time, is I pre-mix on the palette, whether it's oils or acrylics, before I start dashing in color on my palette or on my painting. And it really helps me to see the relationships on my palette before I'm doing it all on my painting.
That's actually what I
questions or comments from anybody else about that? Yeah, because look how light the background is compared to this beautiful tree shape.
Mhm.
Versus this. Like everything gets dark. Again, if I squint my eyes, everything gets really quite dark and it loses the punch of this value scheme. All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So Darlene was not able to make it today, but I'm trying to see a day ago. Okay, so I'm guessing that's her final project. So let's go ahead and check out her reference. Look at that cloud. Woo!
Oh.
I think Cheryl wanted you to talk about her painting so she could listen to it too.
Oh, but it says it was from like a month ago.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, it says from 2 months ago.
Never mind.
And we'll see her tomorrow, I hope.
Okay.
So anyways, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big value shifts. Dark, dark, darks, dark, dark, darks, light, light, lights. A lot going on in here. And Darlene, we miss you today. If you get a chance to watch this video, you're always fun to have in the class. Yeah, this is a lot.
Yeah.
I would be very curious if I were painting this, like what would be my focus? It kind of feels like this, kind of feels like down here. I mean, there's so many beautiful things and interesting things going on in this design. Let's see where you ended up with it.
That's pretty.
Yeah. Oh, 16 by 20. She's getting big
Oh,
again.
good.
Oh.
All right, so I'm just going to read what she wrote here. Larger 16 by 20, wanted to try shadows in different colors, blue, gray, and orange. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Mhm.
There was a damaged spot on the canvas, and it shows. I don't see it right away, but one of my great difficulties for me moving on is having no critiques. It's like losing the training wheels on my bicycle. I've never just painted without someone standing behind me or knowing I could get advice, suggestions, etc. No security blanket. Yeah, I get it. And that's the tough thing about this class is I want to do a lesson. I want to do a critique. I want to do a demo, and you'd think 3 hours would be enough. But maybe I just talk too much. But anyways, I totally get it. It's so nice to get feedback on our paintings. And I guess that's what the whole Padlet is about, is you guys giving feedback and stuff. Let's just quickly look at this. There's so many cool things going on. I mean, I
It's a
think
beautiful
that
painting.
It
yeah,
is lovely.
really nice. And what a interesting color scheme is the blue, gray, and orange. What would scare me is turning it to brown when you mix those colors, but it's really reads well. And a couple of you guys have done that this year. This class is introducing the orangey colors into your sky. I'm thinking Gail did that, and a couple others, and it's really interesting. It does, even though it's just very much a skyscape, right? The horizon line is really low, which is fantastic. The trees still feel like they're in the same world and light as the sky. I love your lost and found edges in the distance, as well as in the sky. I do notice that these darks were over here in the original, but this does kind of help keep us in the center of the painting. And so what I feel like, I wish you were here, Darlene, is I feel like this has become your focus. Because it's got the darks to the lights, it's got all the different colors all within this area. So that's where I'm drawn to. My only issue with that is it's pretty much in the middle. So it's hard to move around this painting. I kind of get stuck in here a little bit. But when my eye does break free, that's when I start to really appreciate these lost edges. There's so much interesting and varied brushwork. There's a lot of really great things going on in here. So, Darlene, hopefully you can join me tomorrow. I would love to talk to you and Cheryl about your paintings. Yeah, I would love to ask you guys, what do you think? Do you have any comments, compliments, complaints?
It's a beautiful painting.
It's
It
good.
She's got a nice volume, feeling of volume on that cloud shape, and it looks good.
So Michael, what you said about the dark and light, the cloud in the middle kind of getting stuck. If she lightened it, like glazed it maybe, so it wasn't so dark, would that make it not be the focal point?
Well, I think it does want to be the focal point. I think that was the intent. I mean, there's so much more work. Like, I feel like this quadrant here is the focal. What I might do is actually bring some darks over a little bit. If we look at the reference, and I may be misremembering. Yeah. See,
Well,
this still becomes a focal. Darkest darks don't always, like, these trees are not the focal point, right? Even though they're the darkest darks in the image. So darkest darks do not always become the focal point. The focal point is usually the point of contrast. Our eyes are just attracted to contrast. I think that's why our eyes are attracted to other people's eyes when we're looking at somebody's face, is that the white of the eyes and the darks of the eyes are attractive to us. Because I mean, babies instinctually look at our eyes, right? So I think there's something innate about contrast. Go ahead. Somebody was about to say something.
Yeah, this is Lisa. Can you go back to her painting? Yeah, thanks. Because for me, yeah, the center is the focal point, but that cloud below it to the right, the dark kind of arrow, for me, it moves me to the right, and then I go up to the blue part of the sky, and then I circle back down.
Yeah.
And then that red kind of points me back up. So for me, it's kind of circular and awesome.
I agree with Lisa. I think that she tried to move the eye around the painting a little bit with the orange color in the lower left foreground. And I'm wondering if maybe if she couldn't use a little bit more color over by that pointed cloud that Lisa was looking at, just a little bit of color in there to help move the eye around.
Yeah, it's an interesting painting. I mean, just like we were talking about earlier about the variety of brush strokes and edges. I mean, it's kind of glorious. Like I really love like what's going here. I love like all the textures here. I love that the ground and the trees feel grounded and really interesting. Yeah, I mean, Darlene is like one of my favorite students just because she came in so pensive and scared and was literally like, each painting takes me 6 months. And now she's whipping out a 16 by 20 in a couple days and doing all those little tiny sketches that are so great. And yeah, I hesitate to say too much, but I kind of feel like, yeah, a little bit of that dark over here. And maybe there's a reflection here that we're not seeing the darks. But I just love the variety of brush strokes. I love the variety of edges throughout.
Lots of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And I would be curious, where Darlene feels like she is in this painting, like she's going to revisit it or, feels like it's done. But yeah, it's beautiful. And there's a lot going on. It is a very interesting and beautiful painting. And like within this big shadow form, still really interesting and twisting and turning and moving. And there's nowhere that's boring on this painting.
Yeah.
The only boring spot is right up here, and that feels perfectly correct. Yeah. Thank you, Darlene. All right, Diane, what do you got going on here?
Oh my God. Well, I was doing the bottom painting and somehow I decided then I should do a bigger one and change it up.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Why not? I mean, that bottom painting is really nice.
well, I thought I had time to finish it before class. What a joke.
Darn that life getting in the way of
I just
art
like,
class.
what was I thinking of? Anyway, so yeah, it's not done.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I'm still working with broken color is kind of I think the main takeaway from this term for me, because I tend to get so detailed and realistic that I feel like it's helping me not be able to do that.
So tell me, what about broken color is exciting to you?
I think, well, the way the Impressionists do it is just exquisite. Why? Well, it feels like you're looking at atmosphere. It feels like it's alive.
Yeah, and I can see that beginning in this painting already. I mean, I just look at when I squint my eyes, your blue sky is like monochromatic and reads perfectly. But then when I look into it, I see all these variations and it's kind of electric and alive. And yeah, I mean, again, it's so nice getting to know some of you, over multiple classes. And you're such an energetic, active person that I think you're going in the right direction. Like, I think this speaks to your personality.
Yes, thank you. I think so too, because I feel like yes, thank you. I think that's what I'm striving for. And man, is it hard.
Oh, but it'll get easier. Everything's hard when we start, right?
I was like, oh my God, the struggle part of art I really relate to.
Something I think about is when my daughter was learning to walk.
Yeah.
Right. And it's difficult, right? They're struggling. It takes them, month, 2 months, multiple months. And then all of a sudden they're just running and you're like, oh, I wish you were only crawling again.
Yeah.
But once they learn, it's easy. It's just like driving, right?
Yeah. I look forward to
is 1,000 different things you're thinking about. And now you can go to the grocery store and come back without, what foot goes where, what everything's going on. So in
Yeah.
the beginning, everything is difficult and unnatural.
Yeah.
And as we become more and more comfortable with it, I mean, Eloise is talking to that, point with her students and things, and that Eloise is, pushing herself and trying all these different things, but at the same time, she can teach certain elements like it's nothing, like without a thought.
Yeah.
And I think all of us have that. And that is the difficult part. Like, again, I'm just going to keep going back to this point about taking this workshop this weekend. Is part of me, my brain is like, I just want to make good paintings and show off. I want the teacher to love me. But the other thing is, but I also want to challenge myself and try these things that this teacher is introducing and these odd foreign concepts. And be proud of yourself for doing it. Don't beat yourself up for that it didn't come naturally the first, second, third time you tried it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this class is really wonderful for introducing all these concepts, that I can try or not. But, I have the opportunity through this class and through the community to do that. So thanks.
Good. And that is it. Enjoy the process, worry less about the end result.
Yeah. I struggle with that one too.
It never ends. I promise you. I promise you. But no, thank you. And your bottom painting is really quite beautiful. So I think you're doing the right thing. And I think revisiting a scene again, so that part of your brain is done. Like, I've got my design, I've got a lot of issues worked out. Now I can focus on broken color and creating swear words for my teacher. And so yeah, great job.
Michael, I hate to throw this in now, but my husband has come in and reminded me that we have an insurance adjuster coming in probably around 15 minutes.
All right, so we'll come back to Dawn, Eloise. All right, so jump to Nyla.
And are we going to be able to meet on Thursdays after the class is over?
So tomorrow for sure. I think, let me look at my calendar. I think the Thursday after that, I actually am going to Hawaii. It's my turn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'll be there for 10 days. If I can figure out a way to make it so one of you guys can start the group, I don't think I can. No, I can't, because I need the permission from the school. What could we do? But no, for the next 2 weeks after that, it'll be off if I'm in charge. What I would suggest is one of you guys try to figure out Zoom that you guys can share. Let me think on that a little bit, Diane. Yeah, but otherwise, it'll be yes tomorrow and no to the next 2 weeks again, because I'll be in Hawaii for 10 days. So,
okay, thanks.
All right, so we're looking at Nyla's. All right, this is interesting, Nyla. Let's talk about this. What do we got going on here?
Okay. Wow. This is kind of going back to my youth. Mississippi Delta, got a field growing on the left, and this is the view probably from the farmer's wife's kitchen window. The field, the crop is on the left. All right, the field on the right has been allowed to go unplowed, and it's beginning to grow up with some trees and things. And that's where the farmers' kids ride their ponies. Now, at my house, where the front tree is, we had a chicken coop and a small stable, and where the back tree is, we had a pig pen. So, but and I didn't think those would look particularly good.
All right. So I love to hear it. And I want to take one moment, Nyla, to compliment your haircut. Looks very nice.
Thank you. My husband and I cut each other's hair during the last tornado warning.
That's always when they suggest having knives out near each other's.
Your sky is beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's so much I like, and I love the story, and I can feel the story in the piece. It's for me, it's a little bit of a step backwards in a lot of your treatment, where you're not as expressive. You're kind of just, it's almost more illustrative. It's not as painterly as some of your more recent paintings. So I would almost like to see you kind of messing with edges, like destroying edges, or you know what I mean, being more expressive. Everything is kind of treated very firmly, very I don't know, illustrative,
Deliberately.
cartoonish, almost deliberately. Yeah, I would like to see this, but with you with either less time or more freedom. And then as far as perspective, these two trees are really close,
I
seemingly.
knew you were going to say something about that, and I already had my
So look
little
how much,
picture
yeah,
figured out. In nature, it's messy, you can't tell, and we've got trees that are growing at different rates.
100%. Definitely right.
But I
Good,
also knew
good,
that
good excuse.
that first tree should be taller, but I didn't want to get it up into the dark, the purple, because the values are too close. So that's
I
how
still
it
wish
ended
you
up
had
being
them.
chopped off.
I think that tree could be about this tall
Yeah.
compared
But
to where they are
not
on the
according to its trunk size. I'd have to
Okay,
beef
you're
up the
right.
trunk too.
All right.
Yeah, I told you, I've got that figured out.
Maybe shorten the back tree then.
You see,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, minor issue.
I'd rather beef up the front tree's trunk and let it grow a little bit.
I think it would create more sense of space
Mhm.
because these two are pretty close to lined up. The other thing is the trunk stops here. You see your
It's
sky
really
holes?
funny because in the underpainting, the trunk went up pretty high.
It's
And
these sky holes that chop it off.
yeah,
Yeah, what it looks like is that it takes a violent right turn.
it curved.
There
Yeah,
you go. Yeah.
it
I would
curved.
play that up because that would be such an interesting thing.
It curved and split about where hold your pointer still. All right, just a little bit higher. All right, a little bit higher and to the left. All right, you where the bottom of your pointer is, that's where it was splitting, going to the right, and then it kind of went on up more to the very slowly toward the left.
Okay. Yeah, not a bad painting by any means, but I feel like I said, it's not, I feel like you're less brave with this one. Like you're less painterly.
It was probably more that it was kind of a last minute thing, and it wasn't thought out as well as it should have been. You
But
know,
still beautiful. I
was
think, you know, we
got to
will
get it done this weekend because we're about to have the onslaught.
I do love the sky colors, and there is a lot of beautiful things in here, and I love the story and how you're describe. You know, it really works interesting, and the really interesting design elements coming in. Like this feels very almost graphic, where it's coming in from one side up and over, one side up and over. Yeah, I would I think if you revisit this one more time and figure out your trees a little bit more.
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Since I have let that field on the right grow up, should I go ahead and just knock out that light color soil and just have things growing up in there and just knock out that side of the curve,
I don't know the right answer.
Is that a road?
No, it's basically just kind of a bare space where the weeds and all have been cleaned out.
The four-wheeler's been riding on it.
My husband says that's where the four-wheeler's been riding.
I feel like that's right here.
Yeah, that's the four-wheeler path because the house is in front of it.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly to say because I like it very much. I love the colors. I love the sky. I think the trees, yeah, I mean, you could literally even just bring this trunk down
Mhm.
and all of a sudden they're a little closer together. Yeah, it's a tough one. Beautiful. Love the story. Love the fact. So is this painted from memory?
No, if you partially so, because where I was growing up,
Oh,
the
here we go.
farmland was all right. Now this is one that I did that that's where I kind of got the idea for the land. Since I changed it to the delta, I took out the hills in the back. And that's why I have that dirt over there on the right too, because it was in that picture. But now that I'm thinking about it more, it probably shouldn't have as much dirt over on the right field in the one that I did for the final.
Yeah, what I like about this is the irregularity, like the
Yeah,
line.
it was this one, the fields had just kind of gone to fallow at the end of the season. And the one that I did for my homework, the field is freshly planted. The plants are just beginning to come up.
Because even in the underpainting, it's more irregular, right? You've got various lines. So I think what happened is you just kind of cleaned up nature so much that everything became very almost graphic.
Mhm.
All these lines. And like this line would get much, much, much narrower as it goes back into space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I keep thinking it looks like a book cover.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. It feels graphic, illustrative. Yeah. So what did you mean by that? It looks like a book cover.
I don't know, but I just think it belongs on the book. And I think, yeah, graphic and illustrative. And so I think that it could stay as it is if that's what you wanted.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love like work like that. So I'm only basically commenting on where some of Nyla's work's going and going back to when Nyla and I first met a couple years ago. And this is a step back in the renderiness, but the colors are still beautiful. Like, yeah, I don't know. Nyla, does that make sense? Am I sounding just nitpicky here?
No, I appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, I'd almost like
I was kind of laughing at myself because I was trying to make an effort not to be so, to have my, to roll my brush on my trees and things like that so that it wouldn't look like it did when I first started painting with you. But, looking at this picture, it looks a whole lot like that.
Yeah, not a whole lot, but a bit like that. And your paintings when you first started were so good too. I remember just being wowed by your detail and by your edge quality. So yeah, it's always difficult to talk about any painting in general, but yeah, I would like to see you revisit this one more time. I'd like to see the trees relate a little better. I would like to see this row and this row. I think your four-wheeler track is great. Tell your husband that I said that. But yeah, I think that I think that one more visit would not hurt this painting.
Okay.
Yeah, and it really depends on, again, that whole self-critique thing is, what was your intention? What do you want from the picture? And, I'm glad that you came in with explanations and defenses of your choices. I think that that's important to be able to defend your painting.
The field at my house, our family garden was like this field over here on the left. I mean, that's the size of our family garden. We plowed it up with a tractor. We were kind of like the Waltons. We had 3 generations. The side on the right was, in a lot of cases, just kind of brush and wilderness. We could watch the bobcats chasing little creatures in the evening, bounding over the weeds and the sumac. And well, the sumac was taller, but the weeds that were at the base of the sumac. And now this is a little bit more manicured than that.
Yeah, it does look like a mowed yard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We staked the ponies out.
I think the other thing I would have asked you to do, like if we would have started, I would probably just crop this, almost like cut this piece off over here. Because I think the interest is here, and I think this became really centered.
Yeah, I had already told Buddy that you were going to tell me that my son was too centered.
What it does is it makes it more graphic, right? Everything's kind of centered, everything's pointed towards the middle, everything's kind of balanced. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's not going to change. The sun is there. I may put some weeds on the right side and adjust the trees, but
perfect. Yeah, and I mean, all in all, beautiful painting, beautiful colors. Yeah, I'm just trying to be mean because you deserve, not that you deserve for me to be mean, but you've yeah.
If I'm going to grow, I've got to have the truth. And
there you go. Exactly right.
The truth is not sugar-coated.
No. And what's also awesome is that you literally came here already knowing 2 things that I was going to say. And I think that's so important. That's part of self-critique. I literally think back to like instructors, or I think my friends, like, you know what I mean? I'll ask them for help. And after a couple of times, I can hear what they're going to say. Right. And that helps me so that, I'm moving forward. So yeah, no, perfect. Everything is going according to plan. My evil plan. Thank you, Nyla.
Thank you, Michael. Have a wonderful summer.
I surely will. All right. Don and Eloise. Wow. All right. Tell us about what you got going on here.
This is Lisa. I need to head out, but I wish everybody very, very well. And I will see you in the fall. I don't have anything that I posted because I still can't get up to my painting room. But I'll get there. I'm working on it. So
hopefully
God bless you guys. Thanks for a wonderful class.
Yeah, hopefully you're feeling better and better and better. I'm so glad you're out of the hospital, and thank you for tuning in. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
This is Diane. I'm going to physical.
You're taking off, Diane?
Yeah, I have physical therapy for my arm.
All right.
See you.
Thanks, Diane.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I can figure out how to leave the meeting.
All right. And then there were 10. All right. Tell us a little bit, Louise, what you got going on here, and what is this white streak?
We'll get to that. Yeah, well, I've talked so much lately about how I've been finding this rose gold foil and putting it into paintings and things. And then I sort of thought, what if I try and do a sunset or sunrise, whatever, but kind of in a rose goldy kind of a color. So I was sort of playing around, and you can see there's little bits and pieces of like experiments. So I haven't really had a chance to do too much this week. So I feel like this was kind of me trying to get out all the ideas in my head into one thing. And some parts worked, some did not. The star, one of the kids in my painting classes, she wanted a shooting star in there. So I said, oh, sure, okay, I'll add one now. So I just quickly did like a little shooting star. And unfortunately, it's on top, but it was kind of just to show her what it would look like. And I'm not very attached to the painting. I mean, I love it. I am actually really proud of it. I just mean, you know, if I can show, if I can use it as a teaching tool, then I will. So yeah, I just had a bunch of leftover paints in the studio. So because there's just these student ones, they don't really have any sort of wizard sounding arcane color like quinacridone or anything. It's just cool blue, warm blue. So and yeah, I just kept layering and layering all week. I was actually painting with pretty thick paint because I'm trying to get out of the habit of just doing these little ice cream scoop shaped clouds and try and get that more like rain, like it's raining when you can see and there's almost like this pillar of just a blur. So I'm trying to get better at things like that because I often like to paint really detailed. So that's sort of what I've been working through in this class. And yeah, so I was trying to, I guess, experiment with warm colors, but introducing some gray also. And yeah, this is what we got this week.
No, I love the colors. I love the gradients and the transition and the different cloud shapes and the value contrast of darks and lights. And no, I think we should always be willing to play and experiment and try things on our paintings. So I think that's fun. I think it really reads pretty well. I think where you have, clouds, that the stars would be a little less, pronounced. I think that the stars look, but I think,
Actually,
your explanation.
I can so those stars, I thought, I wanted stars because I'm learning these nocturne sort of techniques. And so I did them in just white and I thought the exact same thing. So now I'm working on a different one, completely different color palette, but you probably can't see, but these stars are actually like a really, really light, almost like a frosty, icy blue in there instead. So I think next time I would either do a really warm, like sort of like creamy, buttery gold white for such a warm painting. Because yeah, you can see one that's quite bright, but I've got all these tiny ones all around. So this is a picture that my friend took of just her house and her trees, and the sky was like I've altered it a little bit to be a bit more teal or green based, but it was just the most stunning, stunning color. And I'll post it as a reference, but in the lower corner, there's this bright red crescent moon with just a few tiny little wisps of clouds around it. So I'm
Right.
trying, yeah, and it's so hard. I've been working on this all dang week. This is probably like the ninth or 10th time I've tried to do this. So, and also I'm obsessed with round canvases at the moment. Highly, highly recommend. And they're really good for, you can pick them up and sort of turn them and then you sort of evenly get to, do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like if
Right,
you're doing
yeah.
something that needs to be kind of even or blended in a circular shape, you can hold it and twist it kind of like a steering wheel. But yeah,
No,
that's
beautiful colors, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
thank you.
yeah, what is in the one that you're working on right now? It goes from a cool, yeah, that one, the light green gray to the dark purpley green gray. So what is
Yeah,
that?
kind of.
I almost saw it as a waterfall at first.
Oh yeah.
Looks
Yeah,
like
yeah, I see that. Um, but yeah, so it's I tried using Payne's gray quite a lot. And then I was finding it just wasn't quite vivid enough. It was just really too gray, and I'm wanting it to, I'm trying to get the sky to glow. So instead, now I'm using phthalo blue, a little bit of ultramarine, and I have both lemon yellow and this gouache called just deep yellow. And I'm just playing around with that, but I made a gesso. I'll show you actually. So I basically was experimenting with like an equation in my mind. Wait, let me just, my mouth is a bit dry. So I'm like doing these formulas in my head. I'm like, okay, if I've got a purple sky, not a purple, if I've got this like greeny blue gray sky, but then I have this bright red and nearly like coral colored moon, but then at the bottom I'm doing this like green glow. What color should I start with? And I just made this gesso in like an old jam jar, and it's Prussian blue and permanent red, and I just shoot up for like an hour, and it's because it's gouache, it's like got all these bits and pieces that kind of need to be dissolved. And I still haven't gotten it, obviously. Fig and apple jam, if anybody read that, it was amazing. And yeah, I just gessoed that and thought that should hopefully neutralize anything getting too warm or cool if it's kind of this deep, deep, cool purple, because then it's a
So that's
bit
kind of
warm.
like your mother color that's harmonizing all the colors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's it really. I that and dog paintings. So I'm having a good week.
good job.
Very cool. Well, I think this painting is really quite beautiful. It's got a lot of soft edges and everything else. And yeah, listening to what you're describing and showing us kind of what you're working on, I think you're moving in the right direction. So
Love
I'm
it.
excited. I hope you'll join us, next fall and be curious to see what all of your experiments and all the things you're working on, how they come together.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to be back. This has been amazing. And
Oh,
thank you so
good.
much, everybody. It's been
Yeah.
so good to learn from all of you.
Looking forward to seeing you back here.
All right, Gail. What a
Wow.
beautiful and
Oh.
involved and yeah, that feels like just a magical hike.
Mm.
Heck in the woods.
That's beautiful, Gail.
Yeah,
It's
tell us a little bit about what you got going on and what size is this? 1620?
Yep. Yep, 1620. Yeah, it was one of those that it evolved because I was really fighting with the direction that the light was coming in, where the
Yeah,
light source was and what it was
soft light is really difficult.
hmm So it's backlit and from left to right.
So the light is kind of coming this direction.
No, the other direction. I guess you're right. It's starting at the right and coming left.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to wonder why they were lit on this side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So filtering it through. So I played with the foreground and changing the light on the bushes a lot. So I'm finally happy with it. and adding the red and the purple, the rusty red, the orange and the purple.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a really nice harmony to it. Lots of warms and yeah, I love the warm reds and what a mossy greens. I don't know, but those kind of greens are really beautiful together.
And there's a lot of purple in there. It doesn't show, but there's a lot of purple in there.
It does kind of show those, like the purple's kind of the harmonizing, softening color. Yeah, and it does. It has kind of a just magical early morning misty forest kind of feel to it. But I like that the path is warm. Like
Yeah.
the soil would be that kind of rich clay kind of, I don't know whatever kind of soil you guys have.
Yeah, that's Georgia dirt.
Georgia dirt.
Georgia dirt is red.
And then I think my favorite aspect of it is just your lost and found edges, as in a lot of your paintings, but it really feels naturalistic how it goes back into space and it feels soft. I mean, the air feels soft.
Moist.
Yeah.
Moist, yeah.
It feels like birds are singing.
Yeah.
Nice rich color harmony too.
Yes.
Yeah, because it feels like, tonalist painting in a way, but also, yeah, there's a lot of richness to the colors. They're not really too grayed down.
What surface is this on?
It's a panel.
A panel.
I use boards mostly. I'm trying to transition to canvas because I've got a commission that wants canvas, but I prefer boards.
Very nice, very, very nice.
Yeah, it is lovely. I wonder if the lights on the grasses aren't a little bit cool, a little whitish.
Yeah, I wondered about that too, if they were a little too cool.
Yeah, and I don't even know if cool is the right way, but when I squint my eyes, those grasses kind of glow and are kind of spotty a little bit.
So knock some of them back. I knocked a lot of them back.
Yeah, I bet. And yeah, this would be just like I was talking to Brett about. I think that maybe taking this to a black and white may help you to kind of read what areas are not exactly the value maybe you want. And that'll be so easy. You can just glaze right into
and just glaze over it. But yeah, I did take it to black and white actually when you guys were talking about it. And it reads in black and white, but I didn't really look at the hot spots. But yeah, you're right. That when I turn it to black and white, some of that foliage is as bright white as the sky in the background.
Yeah, I just see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there.
They're about as bright white as the white in the background, so they need to be knocked back.
Just a touch, yeah. And I think that may even be an opportunity to bring in a little bit more of that purple.
Gail, what did you mix with the purple for your dark?
I mixed my own purple, and I made it with Payne's gray and I think quinacridone red, either quinacridone red or transparent red.
And maybe a glaze just on those, just so you don't lose the beautiful forms that they have.
Good idea.
Yeah, and those are both transparent colors, so it would be real easy to do that.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's my eye keeps coming to here where I want it to be back in here a little more. And the path leads us through. So yeah, this is the only little section that
and that's the section that I really, really went back and forth on.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, when I turn it to black and white, those little bushes are as white as the background, so they do need to be knocked back just a little bit.
Very cool. Are you going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I look forward to glazing together. All right, Graham.
Wow.
'em. Yeah.
That's gorgeous. That is
It is.
Very
I love the graphic quality of your style.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
funny because I was, picking on Nyla, like, oh, I want lost and found edges and stuff, but there's something that you're doing that really works, and you've got lost and found edges in the sky. Like it kind of helps things to feel like soft and aloft and hard and grounded, right? Like there's a differentiation. Um, that's one of the hardest things for me as a teacher is saying not what I would do, but I love what you're doing. I love it. I like that for you. And
It's
it
got a
feels,
Grant Wood feeling to it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I just the hill feels like it's, the gradation and the values is really nice. Yeah, I mean, my instinct is to, soften these edges way back here, soften them a little more, and then let these be crisp. But at the same time, it feels grounded. It feels,
Yeah, it does.
It's inviting you to take a stroll.
yeah, it really does. It invites you to just want to walk up this hill and go hang out. Yeah,
Yeah, softening edges are difficult for me at this point, but it's definitely
it
not.
doesn't.
I would
I think you need to
definitely like to learn how to work that better.
But I don't understand why you say that because you have so many lost and soft edges in your sky.
Oh, yeah, the sky is totally different. Yeah.
So I wonder if you have a mental thing where you're just like, these are trees, these are sky. But at the same time, I'm just saying what I would do. I think it works. I think there's such a beautiful quality to this. And again, teaching is so weird because I could say one thing to you and then say a complete different thing to Nyla and then a different, you know what I mean? And mean it wholeheartedly. You know what I mean? And I think that's just part of finding our style and finding our signature in our work. And you've been really consistent that your grounds forms are crisp and strong, and your skies are getting soft. And there's something about that separation. This one has a little bit softer tree line.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You got a definite style and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the golden glow to the orange and then the dark blue. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And that's what I mean. It's like, as a teacher, I'd be like, no, there should be more of a gradation between these colors and these colors, but it works. So, what do I know? I'm going to retire.
Oh, he knows that. We don't know that yet.
But that's what I mean is like, I can tell you guys everything about, everything I know about painting, but then it works, you break all the rules and it works in a painting. Right. So that's the thing is just, again, that's why I just say there's no rules. I'm just giving you tools and ideas and, yeah, and like this one's the inverse. Like you have this super hard, crisp line up here with little bits of soft edge, but then you reserved your soft edges for here. So, I don't know, man.
Killing me, man.
It's lovely. Yeah, I mean, a couple things. Your light feels reversed in here as if these trees are being lit from the left side.
Yeah.
Versus from behind, where these feel like they're being lit from behind. You have a little bit of light coming up here, but again, it reads as a hillside. But I think you could, add a little bit of cast shadow. If the light's back there, these are going to be like, I don't know what this light source is here.
Yeah.
But he's got lost and found edges, soft edges in that.
Yeah.
Tree.
Yeah. I mean, if you just glazed in with a little bit of cool darks, like bring in this color temperature versus this color temperature, because it does feel like over here is a giant truck with its spotlights kind of shining up the hill.
It's
That's it. I mean, I'm really trying to be picky. Like,
oh, that's a very valid point.
yeah, like the brush strokes. Your sky is fantastic. I would be so happy to.
Yeah.
God, I wished I'd have painted something different.
Yeah, I don't have much to say besides that light area. You have this cast shadow under this tree. It does feel like you combined some references and kind of forgot where your light source was. This is a noontime tree with
Yeah,
the light coming down. Like if your light's back here, you're not going to have a cast shadow underneath the form.
yeah,
It's
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's all that would be my only thing is it kind of feels like you mixed some references, which I'm a big proponent of. I believe wholeheartedly in, but it does feel like these trees are being lit from the left, the grass is being lit from the left, this tree looks like it's being lit from left and above, and the shadow is also being lit from left and above, but you've made it so your light's back here.
Product of a confused mind.
I feel like you were out there all day painting this plein air. Started off with the sunrise.
Yes, out there all day.
This was noon, and now you're at sunset.
That's
But that
called
took me a while. I
taking
mean,
the light.
none of that was so obvious because your general, like when we squint our eyes, your general values, your general read is really quite correct. But then as I begin to explore it, then I begin to notice,
I can see it if I take my hand and I cover that whole left side there of that tree, and I just look at the right side, the light works
Mhm.
that way if I cover that up. So I have to, yeah, I've got to fiddle with that.
Graham, what's the yellow that you used?
Yellow is I had a hard time finding the right yellow. I think there's quite a bit of white added to cadmium yellow light, but
Okay.
I find cadmium yellow light out of the two to be kind of greenish.
Yeah.
So I've tried all kinds of yellows, but that's what I ended up with: cad yellow light and a little bit of white and maybe a tad of red, just a touch. I'm not sure, but definitely cad yellow light.
Yeah,
Thank
cad
you.
yellow light is my yellow that leans towards green, and then cad yellow medium, or in my case, Indian yellow oftentimes. So you can mix a touch of Indian yellow to your cad yellow light to warm it up, or cadmium red, just a touch because it's so strong.
Yeah, it
Will
is.
warm up your cadmium yellow.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad somebody else thinks it's green because I thought my eyes were going nuts, but
Nope. That's the yellow on my palette that leans towards green.
definitely does.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Kim Hunt, this is a beautiful reference.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous reference.
What have you done?
That's why I picked it.
So is this the painting based on that reference?
Exactly. This
Oh.
Trying to do a sky like Graham there, just trying to get I don't have the tools or the brushwork or the knowledge to figure out how to do that because I'd be putting colors in and then I'm like, well, how do I blend this color into the other one? And so as you can see, I just resorted to using a big brush and blending it all and ended up with a lovely painting of this top part, and then the bottom was a nice shade of green. And I thought, well, I better try and do something with this to save the panel. So then I started going through the pictures on our site to find something to stick in the bottom because again, when I look at the reference, it's like having all of that just dark. I just don't know where to start with that either. So
Sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. And that's the thing with a camera, right? Is it to get this detail and this information, it's gonna excuse me.
That's
Make all of this much, much darker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, is this your reference?
It is. I don't know where it's from, to be honest with you. I was in my pictures, but I think that one thing I learned is really you have to be really thoughtful, mindful of the picture that you pick to start with. Like trying to find something that is doable is one of the things. And I also think definitely
big time. Like you said, starting with a composition, like a sketch, and putting in your values, even naming where warm and cool is going to go, and understanding all of that before I attack the actual painting is definitely really good learning for me. That's
Yeah.
I realize now that's what I have to do is a lot more planning and deciding everything before I even begin to pick up a paintbrush. So
I would absolutely revisit this image. It's beautiful. Like I want to paint this. It's so interesting and it's got such nice shapes and movement and gesture and all the things. I would absolutely revisit it. Yeah, it's interesting the choices that you've made. Because a lot of the things I like, you seem to have moved away from, but that again, that's personal, choices. Like your clouds are going this way where those clouds are coming down, and I would
they weren't choices. That this final end thing is not based on that top. It's just like I was moving in that direction of doing that sky and that painting, but it just got away from me. And so then I just ditched the picture and just started to figure out how, just to play around with that. So
great. I mean, that's also very valuable and a lot of fun. I would, I don't know. I mean, this is interesting. If I hadn't seen the reference, I think that this has got a lot of fun things going on, but I'm I'm a little perplexed how they relate to each other.
They don't. I'm just telling my story. I'm telling my artist story. Yes.
Yeah.
This is what's happening to me. And so, you know what? Like I said, it's a lot of learning how to just decide when you say, what are you painting? What I ask, what are you painting for?
Yeah.
And you need you need to find the joy in doing it. And I do have to really detach from outcomes, detach from anybody saying anything positive about it, because that doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with what I'm painting right now.
Right.
And so it's just taking all of this information I've learned, figuring out how to put it together in a good painting and apply it, but also keep that joy in doing that process and not getting all bent out of shape and just wanting to throw everything away or put it on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
important.
sticking with it, right? It's taking that, that piece that sat there for a while and saying, okay, well, let's put something on the bottom of this and play with it, see what that looks like. Same as the one below. I did play around with it. It's certainly not anywhere close to where I want it to be, but
so much better.
Pushed it back. Yeah, like I pushed back the back part. The color, it's like the lake does definitely, like, none of it reads well. But I can see, okay, here's a few steps and it's made some changes. Now let's keep going. And the blue, I know, like, I need to change that. The lake, I'm thinking, like, even doing it in with the transparent glazes might be better. So yeah, it's just a learning process, and it's all good, right? It's keeping your head in that frame that you're learning, and if I make this a little lighter, I can push this back, and what happens if I do this? Right?
100%. Now you're literally thinking all the right things. And look at the difference, like this heavy saturation and then much more desaturated. Yeah, I think you are literally doing the right things. I mean, this is how we all learn, is we just battle through. And I think, the disassociation, it's the process is so much more important than the result. And as we're working on the paintings, we go, okay, this part of the process works, this part of the process does not work, or you know what I mean, like, what should I be doing? Like, should I be focusing on this in the beginning and then this in the middle and this on the end? Or what is happening that you're jumping forward in one stage a little too quickly, or you're, you know, a
Mhm.
little rash, and sometimes sneaking up on the painting a little in the beginning. I think a lot of people, you know, I see people nodding. Sometimes it's not jumping in to heavy colors so quickly. It's a
Mhm.
little more of, okay, first design, first, you know, then values, and then colors.
Mhm.
And for, you know, people like, you know, you and Nadine and a number of others who are just like, I love color. It's a fight, right? Because we're just like, I want to get to the good part. I want to get to the fun part. Some of us others are just like, oh, it's all about paint quality and, you know, brushwork. And it's the same thing as we just jump. So I'm constantly telling myself, I've got to earn, you know, this part. I've got to earn the brushwork. I've got to earn the thick paint. I've got to earn the color. So I've got to do the left side of the brain before I can jump to the right side of the brain.
Mhm. That makes sense.
I got to do the math equation, or I've got to write the thing before I can turn it into a poem.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I think I mean, all that you're doing and how you talk about it is perfect. Like, you're literally on the right path, and you completely
Mhm.
understand that it is a journey. And that, I mean, right now you're literally learning how a brush and paint work together. You know what I mean? Like, how to apply the paint. And that is a big part of it. You know, it's learning your chords so that you can, you know, on the piano so that you can play a song. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, no, my hat's off to you, and that you're just battling through and enjoying the process and not taking it too serious, but at the same time,
Personally, that's right. And don't use cotton balls on oil. I've
Oh, oh no. No.
Q-tips work, cotton balls don't.
yeah, I mean, if I had seen this reference earlier in the class, I'd be like, can I paint that? I want to paint that as one of the demos. This is so
Yeah,
beautiful, and
for
I love the
sure.
transitions. And you know, and I might even stick with some dark darks down here. So yeah, I say revisit it, whether
Yeah,
it's, you know,
sure.
over the top of this and keep it working, or just starting again.
Yep. Sounds good. Thank you.
Think it's
Perfect.
beautiful.
All right, let me see how many more we have. We have people coming in a little bit. We're already an hour over here. So it looks like, and I feel really bad because this is our last day. Linda Camarada, are you okay if we talk tomorrow?
Yes, we can.
Regini, are you okay if we talk tomorrow?
Yeah, sure.
So Nadine, are you joining us tomorrow or not?
No, I can't be here tomorrow, unfortunately.
Okay, great. We'll talk about yours. Is
Yeah,
Michelle here? Oh,
No.
Michelle is here. Okay, great. Man, these are both really beautiful, so I look forward to talking about them. And Linda Morgan O'Connor, are you going to be here tomorrow? Oops, you're muted. Sorry.
I'll be here tomorrow. We can do it tomorrow for sure.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. I think I
Yeah.
feel much more comfortable doing 2 more versus 6
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So great. Let's talk to Michelle. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm
Not
doing well, thanks. I'm actually,
good. I'm so sorry you're still not feeling or
well,
still
I'm actually
sick.
having my infusion right now, so
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for tuning in. And
sure, thanks for having me.
absolutely.
But
All
it's going to
right.
be
All
over
right.
soon, so yeah.
What a beautiful color palette. Like, these colors
Thank
are
you.
just really sting. Very graphic. It's interesting to yeah. So tell me a little bit about what your intention was, or what you're looking for this here.
Well, after the paintings we talked about last week,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm still trying to find a style that I feel comfortable with, and I just felt as though I wanted to go more graphic as opposed to
Yeah.
trying to be realistic. So this was a pretty successful one for me, this Skagit Valley painting. And I did add that it was after Andy Ekashow. So
Oh,
But,
interesting, because I don't see him as being too graphic, but I like that you're combining kind of your ideals.
right. So I, you know, it suddenly started working and showing up the perspective of the flatland and the above the river in the distance. I really like the way that worked out. But
Yeah.
again, it's all just experimentation at this point and trying to learn. So I really have loved this class. I've loved everybody's comments. I'm crazy for some of the paintings that I saw today, Graham especially, and Gail. You know, it's just amazing what everyone can do. So
I love the graphic quality. I love the abstract
Yeah.
paintings.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so fun because I mean, it's literally the opposite of what I do, right? I soften all my edges and I overdo it. Like even the teacher this weekend is like, "Why are all your edges soft?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's just what I've ended up doing." And like you have almost no soft edges, and it's lovely.
And it
Like,
works.
yeah,
Oh, thanks, everybody.
Beautiful.
and the color
Nice.
scheme is really strong. Like I
I'm
could
gonna
see
have
like
to
a
listen to
designer
the.
using this.
I'm gonna have to go now, and I'll listen to the rest of this on video because the
Okey-doke.
nurse is here to take me off the.
Okay, well, best
so.
of luck with everything.
Good
Tell your
luck,
nurse.
guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, Michelle. It's been so great
Bye-bye.
having you in class. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like having a student that takes my class and then ends up doing something like this,
Abstract.
right?
Yeah.
I'm almost like, why did they want to take my class? But I'm so glad that Michelle did because this is so interesting. And like I said, I learn a little bit from everybody. And
And it
I
works.
really do love the color harmony in this. It
Yeah.
just feels like a designer almost made it, like picked a palette and kind of went for it. Yeah, and
Feels
it's
like
really,
it'd be one of those paintings that is ginormous.
yeah, exactly. Like you'd see it. I mean, I hate to say it since she's in a hospital, but it almost feels like when you're walking into a hospital, like a big, beautiful painting that kind of welcomes you and is friendly and colorful and
Happy.
It's happy.
maybe I'll say a hotel. I'll say a hotel. How about a hotel?
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
And yeah, and like interesting choices like the dark hill here and things, darks up here. But it's, somebody who looks at artwork so much of their day, and thinks about artwork so much of their day. I'm so attracted when, I'm on Pinterest or other sites where I find these like crisp graphic images. I've been racking my brain to remember the artist, the lady who paints with the gold leaf and stuff, and does those really crisp, beautiful skyscapes. I've shared them in a couple of my classes in the past of different ideas, and it reminds me of that. It does make me think a little bit about Graham, what you were talking about the yellow being cool.
Yeah.
Like I think a warmer yellow would be more effective, because I do
It's
feel
got
like
a warmer yellow down below.
yeah, exactly. That's the only area that feels a little weird is the green and the cold yellow. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I really love the transitions between the blues, purples, whites, cream colors. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I want to continue to talk to Michelle about different artists and different designs because it is interesting too. Because she mentioned Andy, I think his name's Eshel or whatever, and his work is not, in my opinion, very graphic. A lot of more realism and soft edges, but and then Michelle also mentioned, trying to figure out her style. I hesitate to have artists think about that too early on. I think it's better to have your style reveal itself to you through a lot of paintings than I just don't think it's that valid to think about style first and then paint to it. If you want kind of a honest, like a style that's yours, I say just keep painting, and then look back and review your work, and you'll see kind of repeating brush strokes or repeating color schemes or whatever it is that kind of comes through in your work. But at the same time, yeah, very stylized. And her last couple of works have kind of had a similar feel. But then this one was much more, what dare I say, realistic or,
That
Um,
has a really graphic quality though.
sure
Match the
does.
quality.
Yeah, I guess it's just the colors aren't so punchy. Yeah. Anyways, part of the joy of having a whole group of us and how many different voices we have and ways of expressing ourselves. I know this place, Nadine.
Yes, and you took the photo. This is
Oh,
based
okay.
on your reference, which I
Okay,
think I
great.
put down below.
I like this one.
I
Yeah.
love it. It's
Thank
beautiful.
you. The reference photo to me seemed a little too dark, almost too late in the day, I
Mm.
think, for it to read well in a painting that I would accomplish. So I did try to lighten it a little bit. However, in my foreground, I used on the sand, I used basically my muddy blues from above and Payne's gray added. And I'm wondering, should I have tried to get some warmth into that sand, or I wasn't sure about that.
So I think you did the right thing because a lot of the sand is reflecting the cools from above.
Uh-huh.
But areas that are facing the light a little more
Mm-hmm.
are going to be warmer. They're getting this warm light coming across.
Right.
So you've got the darks in. I think they harmonize and read really well. I would just say yes, you can warm it up. I wouldn't go as punchy as like the light, up here,
No,
but
right.
a little bit more warmth. Because
Okay.
right now it just feels like kind of a pasty version of
Right.
this.
Right. Okay. I
Yeah,
can do that.
good shapes. I love your clouds up here. I love the lights and the darks and everything else. And it's an interesting choice. Yours feels much more like a vertical, and I think the reference is more of a horizontal. So that's a interesting, yeah.
It is. It's actually a square. In all honesty, it's a 12 by 12 square. It's something that I was hoping to be able to accomplish and finish in a short amount of time. And I did it in about 5 hours because my first attempt was an epic failure at a 16 by 20. And it's now in the corner drying so that I can try to salvage it. Yeah, I've never ever painted snow. And I tried to do a flamingo pink and yellow and turquoise sky over mushy, slushy snow. And that just did not work at all. So I had too
Yeah,
much
that
paint.
sounds like a battle.
It was a total battle. So it's in the corner and drying. And I love your reference for this. And so I thought, okay, let's do the rock.
Absolutely. No, and I think it really works. I'm really drawn to this area up here. Is really beautiful. And I like your temperature shifts going towards the warms and how this is the whole piece feels very related.
Good.
You know what I mean? It's not segmented. You've got a very harmonious piece here. I think a tiny bit of warmth there.
Can you glaze that?
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you mixed that color if it's got a lot of white in it, but you might be able
Yeah,
to.
and it would be easy to glaze, and then you could even bring a little bit of that glaze into the back
Just
of the
touch it.
serve,
In the back of the waves. Okay.
facing towards the light.
Mm-hmm.
You did a
Yeah.
beautiful job of adding just a touch of light on your rocks.
Thank you.
Just
Yeah.
that key. And if you did that with your waves, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's all I would do is really just come through because I like the changes you've made.
Okay.
I would just take a little, maybe a quinacridone red, thin it down, touch maybe of yellow, not much because it'll get orangey, and just really lightly, especially let this dry and bring that across and glaze. And I would take maybe a little bit just beyond this perimeter of the bright light onto these rocks and do the same thing.
Okay, great.
And I think everything will just key in. And now I'm noticing these transitions up here in the blue grays are beautiful. Yeah, really nice.
Thank you.
I feel like you and Regini would be good friends if you lived close to each other.
Yeah, I'm sure we would.
Yeah. Well, Nadine, I hope you'll still come tomorrow if you're able. It's always fun to have you.
I'll
And,
try. I'll try. I'll see you back in the fall. I really love the class, Michael, and
thank
I'd be
you.
happy to join again.
Great. Well, I'll be sending out an announcement for the 2-day workshop or class, 2-week workshop. It'd just be 2 days, but I think it's in July or something like that.
Oh,
Just so we can all touch base again and, see how our summers are going. But otherwise, yeah, I look forward to the fall as well. Don't make me want to rush through the summer too much, but yeah, I've really enjoyed this class and this group. And again, just how supportive you guys have been of each other. And the truth is that, sometimes I teach and students don't push themselves and don't try new things. And you guys have all really been trying and stretching and challenging me as an instructor with all your different styles, techniques, mediums, all the different things. It has been a delight to be a part of this. And I'm sorry that I have to finish the class only 1 hour late. Wish we could keep going, but got to get downstairs and get back to all the activities of the family here. So you guys were fantastic. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, if you have any.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
Yep.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.